Let me just check. All right, Matt Rhule has not been fired. And the people, what is up? Happy New Year! What's going on? You're watching Panthers Post with Phil Perkins. Thanks for joining. If you're new here, make sure to like, definitely subscribe, pound, and keep pounding those buttons, especially on the keyboard. Let me know about your feelings, because I know Joe Person let us all know what he's been working on and how he feels, and how a bunch of other unnamed sources are feeling right now about the Carolina Panthers, who just lost 18-10 in New Orleans against Taysom Hill and the beat-up Saints. Now, I know the Panthers had their injuries, but the New Orleans Saints also had their fair share. I mean, they're at Taysom Hill, a quarterback who is basically, to me, honestly, like a fullback who can throw a little bit, but, they're up against the New Orleans Saints team. This is a team that I thought in the remaining two games in New Orleans, in Tampa, this could be a squad that can actually, the Panthers could maybe get that sixth win of the season, surpass last year's win mark of 5. They're just not meant to be. Panthers 5-11, looking like they could go to 5-12 at the end of the season when they head to Tampa to take on Tom Brady and the Bucs, who just somehow almost lost to the New York Jets game. This is what I was thinking about. And it was all thanks to Joe Person from The Athletic. I quote him a lot. I think he does a pretty good job as one of the many great beat reporters on the ground, at least, that's covering this team. They do a lot of great YouTubers out there. Obviously, we all know PNP, Unnecessary Bluntness. All those cats do an amazing job from, comforts of our own home, or in my case, the mud room. But Joe Person does a very, very good job. He put out an expose at, was it New Year's Eve or New Year's Day? As from what I understand on Twitter, because I've been off it, I've been on holiday, but if there's one thing that definitely people are choosing to describe this article is the fact that Joe Person chose violence. Well, in my opinion, he chose journalism. This guy didn't just put stuff out there, just a tweet here, a tweet there. He waited. He sat on this. He let it marinate like a good barbecue master, pit master. And he had collected his sources, whether it's, NFC, AFC scouts, executives, players, unnamed players in the locker room, potentially some alumni. I'm looking at you, Trey Boston and Jonathan Stewart. Not to throw you out there, I'm just saying, looks like you guys may have some sources, and then let Joe Person know what's going on. It just seems like that, just judging by your tweets. But he sat on this, and he released the article, and if you've read the article, make sure to check it out. It shows a lot of what we have been talking about in the Twitter sphere about this Panthers, and how it's just dysfunction. For us, from what we're saying, is it just seems like a very dysfunctional situation right now in Charlotte. And according to Joe Person, some sources, unnamed sources, are calling it a cluster F. I know kids are watching this, all right? So I'm not going to say the whole thing, but it's a cluster puck. It's a cluster puck. Quote, cluster puck. That's what it is right now. And David Tepper, the richest owner in the NFL, I think he's worth about $16-17 billion. He's no Jeff Bezos. But I'll tell you one thing about billionaires. I tweeted this out at Panthers Post, number 1 for Killer Cam, who I still believe in. Should have seen him more in this game. We'll get to the game soon. But billionaires do not get embarrassed. They don't. That's why they're billionaires. They take risks. They don't care what you think. They don't care what someone says. They don't care what their best buddy says. They don't care what their mom or dad or girlfriend or wife says. They just do what they think is right. They don't get embarrassed, And if you check out Jeff Bezos' Instagram, you see what he did on New Year's Eve. The dude has no shame. He's flying to space for 10 minutes. That's barely flying to space. He has no shame, people. But for someone to say, a source saying that Dave Tepper is embarrassed of his decision to pick up Matt Rhule, pluck him from not so much obscurity from the NCAA, but the fact that he was a mainly NCAA guy, pluck him out of there, pay him a ridiculous amount of money, and put him into an NFL situation where, you're trying to build something, trying to build a culture. And he's embarrassed by that decision. He's embarrassed. He's got to go to these owners' meetings and get cracked on by the other guys. Like, imagine sitting down at the buffet table and Jerry Jones is talking smack. He's like, weren't you a minority owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers? The Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the most model franchise, winningest franchises in the NFL. Yeah, did you not learn anything about that at all? Was Mike Tomlin someone straight out of, William and Mary and a DB coach? You just pluck him out of there? No, he had experience as, I think it was a defensive back coach with the Minnesota Vikings before that, So Dave Tepper must be getting some flack for sure from some of his billionaire cronies. So I was thinking about that. Thinking about embarrassed and clusterfuck heading into this game. And you know what? I was starting to think, and at least in the first series or two, definitely in the first half, it felt like it definitely seemed like the performance I was seeing on the field turned that article on its head. It didn't seem that players were quitting on Matt Rhule. It didn't seem like there was not that a lack of discipline, which we have been seeing the last couple of weeks. But it looked like things were somewhat coming together. Maybe I'm influenced a little bit by, former Nittany Lion, Penn State alum Matt Millen, who was on the color commentary. Matt Rhule, a Nittany Lion himself, kind of talking quite colorfully and quite favorably in Matt Rhule's favor. But it just seemed like, Sam Darnold, number one, starting for this in this game, which he's the guy you're guaranteed pay next year, just under $19 million. I guess you put him out there to see what he's got. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But, it looked like the team was put together. Normally, that first drive normally tends to be pretty good, pretty well scripted. Sam Darnold looked pretty connected with his receivers. Looked like DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson back at it. We had Terrace Marshall sighting a couple times in this game. It looked like, at least on that side, things were coming together. And that's when it stopped. And that's when the inability to adjust on the fly in an NFL game against Sean Payton and Dennis Allen, NFL caliber head coaches and coordinators who used to be head coaches, just didn't happen. It's almost like they used all their trick arrows. If you're seeing Hawkeye, if you watch it on Disney Plus, it seems like the Panthers used all their trick arrows. They used all their script, and then after that, you just don't know what to do. They just got plain old stupid arrows. They don't got anything cool. They don't have any PIMS arrows. Fox kept saying safety valve, safety valve. Here it's over to Chuba Hubbard with a dump pass. And Amir Abdullah with a dump pass, safety valve, safety valve. We just didn't see it. Didn't see the offense. It's Sam Darnold. Like I've never seen the physical embodiment of tunnel vision until I saw this, and I saw him start basically an entire game. And that's the other issue. Sam Darnold starting this game, and I understand that he is on the books for next year, so you want to see what you're working with before you decide on his future, whether you eat the salary and let him go. I saw some crazy tweet trading him for Tua Tagovailoa. I don't know about that, but you're putting him out there to see what he's to show scouts. This is the tools that he's got, not a lot, and also showing yourself, can this guy maybe be our starter next year? Can we build on some things? No, man. I think he had 132 yards passing. He had interception to seal the game. Besides that opening, couple series where he looked somewhat competent, I think he had 7 straight completions. After that, nothing. He did not drive the offense forward. He did nothing. Feels like we've seen the last of Cam Newton in the Carolina Panthers uniform. We may have seen Cam Newton the last time in the NFL. In that press conference that he had in the last game, it seemed like he was kind of, in a way, like a soft retirement speech, before, number one is actually put up in the rafters and retired at Bank of America Stadium. I don't think we're going to see Cam Newton in the NFL potentially after this. I don't know, unless it's a situation like a Taysom Hill, when there is an actual, competent QB at the helm. I think Cam, his time as a starter is done. I think Sam Darnold's time as a starter is done. I would have, at least this is all under the caveat that Matt Rhule is back. And again, back to where I came into this, reading that Joe Person article about the embarrassment that David Tepper is feeling, the clusterfuck of an organization that the Panthers have become. They've kind of become, in a way, the Cleveland Browns of the South, like bad Cleveland Browns, minus all that talent on there. They have talent on this team, but I just mean organizationally, it seems like this team is just so disorganized. And this is all under the impression that Matt Rhule is coming back, because every single report that I'm seeing is saying that Matt Rhule is coming back. And if Matt Rhule is coming back, Cam Newton is definitely out. Because again, according to that Joe Person article, it seems like Matt Rhule wants college guys. He wants impressionable young guys who are going to be open to being told what to do. And someone like a 2015 NFL MVP who's played in a Super Bowl as a starting quarterback is just not that kind of guy that Matt Rhule can coach up, despite the fact that Cam is singing the praises of Matt Rhule, that things are working. Well, we're not seeing it. The defense is solid. It can only do so much. This is not the 2015 Panthers with Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly, and Charles Johnson. This is just not the team. Still needs to grow. I thought Derek Brown came out firing. I think he has 3 sacks in the season now. He played with like piss and vinegar in his veins. I thought that was awesome. I thought Jeremy Chinney had a sack today. That was awesome to see. Brian Burns still hustling, staying healthy, thankfully, to participate in his first Pro Bowl. Hassan Reddick out with the COVID-19. And I thought the defense did what it had to do. He only held the New Orleans Saints to 18 points. It's not like Taysom Hill. It's not like he's, Jared Stidham or some kind of, no-name backup. They're supposedly paying him money. So you held the New Orleans Saints at home to 18 points. That's pretty damn good, especially if your offense kind of just was MIA for the second half. Got to build on the O-line. 100% you got to build on the O-line. The amount of times that I saw Saints defenders, it feels like they just came in free of charge. Just like bang, just laid Sam Darnold out. I felt like Cameron Jordan was just in his head. Like, I know Sam's seeing goals. He's seeing Cam Jordan for a couple hours at least after this game. But this offensive line needs to change. Besides Taylor Moan, I thought, Brady Christensen had some moments again in the first half. In the second half, he seemed to fall apart. They need to invest in this O-line. Whatever free agent money that you're not going to be spending on guys like potentially Stephon Gilmore, Hassan Reddick, who maybe want to go to greener pastures, that don't want to be dealing with another development year, whether it's under Matt Rhule in that third year with the same BS and no progression on the field, or maybe a rookie head coach with a different philosophy. Maybe they don't want to deal with that stuff. So maybe all that money you don't spend on Dante Jackson, Hassan Reddick, and Stephon Gilmore. With no shade on them, as I said, they just want to, they want to win a ring. You spend that on offensive line. Spend it on offensive line free agents if they're anywhere available. We're going to start doing mock drafts coming up. Next week is the last game of the season. Going to start doing mock drafts. May as well start now. But 100%, if there are any offensive lineman free agents out there that you can pay, 100% do that. In the draft, constantly in my mock drafts, and you're going to be seeing them later on. I'm trading down, picking up whatever lineman I can, seeing what quarterback shows up, maybe in the second and third round. But I feel like this offense has to. And we're seeing it too. Darren Gant, who actually works for the Panthers, he even puts in his report, Ask the Old Guy articles on the Panthers website, that it is known that their focus is going to be on the offense, specifically the offensive line this year. So they got to do that, because it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It really doesn't. I've been watching a lot of these bowl games. I saw Matt Corral, playing in that bowl game against Baylor, ironically. And, he's doing what he wanted. He wanted to be with the boys in his last game before becoming a pro, running for his life. Not a big guy. Gets trampled on. I don't know at this point what the injury is, but basically any of these rookie quarterbacks come with the Panthers without an investment in the O-line. That's what it's going to be like. They're going to be running for their lives and putting their health at risk, and their health / their team success at risk. I'm sure fans would be about that, kind of doing like a soft reset, keeping the defense, letting go of the quarterbacks and the head coach, and maybe keep Phil Snow. And you bring in a rookie quarterback and an NFL head coach that has actual NFL coaching experience. I think people will be a lot more willing to come to games, to pay money, and to buy jerseys, and to attend and watch fully, and not vlog about it, just watch for recreation. I feel like it's going to be hard if Matt Rhule comes back next year with the same cast of characters in the quarterback room and no real, I mean, like, extreme improvements on the offensive line. I don't know. That's how I feel. This is how these reaction pods go. They're always very emotional. The game just wrapped up. It's within 30 minutes. Here I am talking, blabbing. Let me know in the comment community. Again, if you're new here, like, subscribe. If you're not, I appreciate you. I've been appreciating you guys. It's almost been a year since we've been running this. It's so much fun. It's so much therapy. It's literally, no one would talk to me about this on the phone. That's for damn sure. So I'm glad I could talk about it with you guys on camera. Let me know how you feel. Comment community. See you guys midweek.